Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We live. We back, man. Welcome back to the Golden Goose DFS show. I am your host, Chandler Blakely, aka Goose. We are the leaders in single entry 3 max and 20 max content, but have no fear, man. No matter your style of play, this is one of the best spots you can be in. You want to be subscribed. You want to have your notification bell on so you know when the videos and content drop. All right. Also, do me one small favor. But before I say that, thank y'all, man, for the likes yesterday. We got up over 100. Let's see if we can keep that trend going. I appreciate each and every one of you that hit that like button, all right? And to all of you who watched who didn't, today's a chance to be better, man. Each day you can be a little better. So go on and hit that like button if you didn't hit it yesterday. And if you hit it yesterday, hit it again, man. I appreciate you, all right? Thank you for tuning in. This is my starting 5 series where I bring you 5 plays that's more than likely going to be in my player pool on DraftKings and FanDuel. Now, I know we got no late swap today, but I still say more than likely because you still, just because there's no late swap, you still gonna get guys ruled out before lock. You still gonna get guys ruled out, or you gonna have a better feel for guys after shoot around. So it could be just a guy we don't even know about still, like don't go through shoot around, get sick or something. So you still gonna have injury news throughout the day. You just ain't gotta worry about it after lock right now. You can set it and forget it with your lineups because that's all you can do. So definitely prepare for that, but we'll talk about it once we get into it. Let's go over this lineup review, going over my best lineups from yesterday's slate. Yesterday on DK, probably lost like half of my buy-in. DeJounte Murray did not do it for me. A little too much Clint Capella was some of my weak spots over there in my player pool yesterday. FanDuel just a single entry, so we missed the money over there. This is my best lineup on DK, 329, as you can see. At the top, man, Dennis Schroeder got that news that Ben Simmons was out. I told you on yesterday's video, long as Ben Simmons was out, you can sign me up for Dennis Schroeder. Got the plenty of them, man, at 30% on, gave you 45 fantasy points. Those Brooklyn Nets guys were the guys. Well, 2 of them. Schroeder and Cam Johnson, who you need. Mikal Bridges didn't really do much. You didn't have to have him. He only gave you like 36 fantasy points. But Schroeder and Cam Johnson were the ones you needed yesterday from the Nets, man. I had a good amount of both of those players. Had a pivot with Keldon Johnson. I talked about him yesterday on the video. Kind of felt like Cam Johnson would be chalky, which he was. Like I said, I thought Keldon Johnson was a decent pivot when you got to your tournaments. I told you he's more of a 20 max play. Didn't work out for me, but he didn't kill you. But yeah, that was the gist of it. Let's get into the rest of this lineup. Got to some Devin Booker right here. 14% on. He had a nice game against the Houston Rockets. 55 fantasy points from him. Lonnie Walker just trying to get a value piece, get a little another piece of that Nets game. Only 16 fantasy points from him. Definitely could have used some more. John Collins, my guy, you just seen him featured on videos all year. He just stays at this price tag. He's a legit double threat. This is his range right here. 30 to 40 fantasy points is what he be dropping for you. So got some John Collins, 10% on, 36 fantasy point. Right at 6x on the head right here for 6,100. We'll take it. Clint Capella, man, 5,300. I talked about him yesterday on the video. Thought it would be a chance he could see some uptick in minutes. That did not happen. Only played 21 minutes. Gave 22 fantasy points. So I was on track. He just didn't get the minutes I expected. If he get the 30 minutes that I expected here, he definitely give us a better score at 5,300. But he didn't destroy us, man. But we definitely could have used more from him in this spot. Got to some Trey Jones from the Spurs here. Big game from him, man. 40 fantasy points at 25% ownership. Cam Johnson, as you can see, everybody's chalk once again. 45% on and 43 fantasy points. All right. Listen, when you have nights like this, like with Schroeder, Johnson, just any nights the chalk hits is going to be a high scoring night. Because everybody has good plays in their lineup now. When chalky plays, value plays like Schroeder and Cam Johnson hits, it's gonna be a high scoring night. Just because a lot of people have those plays. So when the chalk hits, man, you're gonna have high scoring nights, and that's just what it is. Finishing out, man, Wemby. I told y'all I always got some Wemby. Every slate the Spurs play, I'm going to have some Wemby. I had him the last two when he only gave me 50 fantasy points, didn't do me enough. Didn't give me enough to win. I came back this week still. This game, still going to play. I'm going to play Wemby every slate that Wemby's on. I'm going to have some Wemby exposure. Had him right here, 27% on, 71 fantasy points, man. Your highest scorer on the slate yesterday. Definitely was a solid outing from him. 329, like I said. Rough night on DK. FanDuel is only one single entry. I got into that little single entry series they was having. So this was actually the $5 single entry, not my normal 10 or 25 I'm in. This was the $5 where they had the single entry series at. But once Brunson was ruled in, I got to some Jalen Brunson, man. Figured he would be low on with the late addition to the starting lineup. Just a rough one, man. The Knicks got handled here, 5% on, only 36 fantasy points. I had a lot of Jalen Brunson, too. That's what hurt me yesterday. A lot of Jalen Brunson, a lot of Jalen Brunson and DeJounte Murray were two of my higher owned guys. So that was really kept me from having a big cash yesterday. I had all the value pieces, Schroeder, Cam Johnson. I had those guys. It's just my other guys around it, like Brunson and DeJounte Murray, didn't get there for me. Schroeder over here, 51% on, 41 fantasy points from him. DeJounte Murray, if they could have kept it close, he started surging. He had a rough first quarter, started surging the second and third quarter as they was getting back into the game. If they could have came all the way back, undoubtedly it would have been because of him. He would have had a hand in. I ain't going to say been because of him, but he definitely would have had a hand in and gave us a bigger score. But just 40 fantasy points from him. Mikal Bridges, I got to some of them. I was fighting them, man. On the live stream yesterday, me and the gang was back and forth, man. I didn't want to trust the projections on him because I did not like him. I told the gang he's questionable, and I could have followed my first instinct and got to way lower on him than the field, but I still got lower than the field had of him. 19% on over here on FanDuel, 37 fantasy points. My guy Keldon Johnson here, 17 fantasy points. Just another guy who didn't get the minutes. I was hoping he could get up to that 30-minute threshold. Just didn't do it and perform well for us. Got to some Jalen Williams as well, 17% on. He gave you right at 40 fantasy points. An okay outing at his price tag. Taylor Hendricks here again, 34% on. He's just super cheap, man, and that's what he does. He just gives you like 25 fantasy points. Got to some Dorian Finney-Smith here, 22% on. Just trying to get to some more of them nets. He was super cheap. He was capable of giving us this type of performance here. He could have gave us 25, 28 fantasy points, which would have really helped at his price tag. Did not work out. And then Clint Capella down here once again, man, 9% on, only 23 fantasy points for him. So definitely a rough one on FanDuel. But let's get to today's slate, man. Nice 7-game slate. And it's no late swap, all right? So that means you get to set it and forget it. But don't mean it's any less stressful, man. It was rough for me trying to put this thing together today. What you got to realize is just be comfortable with your decisions and live with it. Understand, if they keep this late, I think they just testing it out. I don't know if it's back this way for good, but understand, man, with this non-late swap, sometimes the news is going to go in your favor and help you. Sometimes it's going to hurt you. You got to be very meticulous and strategize with what plays you're willing to risk it on, because there's always money in getting a guy that's probably not going to have any ownership. There's really going to be money in it now, because with no late swap, guys are going to be coming in way lower on than they should. So if you got a feeling on a guy that's questionable and you know he going to play and people are not on him, it's really going to be beneficial to get him in your lineups. Like Luka, this spread is 10 for the Celtics versus Mavs games. That's probably a good sign that he's not going to play. He's probably out. But if you think he's going to play and get him in there, and he plays, you already know the type of leverage you can have on the field. But that's an early game. We may get some of this. What you got to realize is these 7 o'clock games, you're definitely going to have the news. Nothing changes with that. 7:30 games, you may. After that, you pushing it. You probably not going to have news before the lock. But pay attention to the early morning shoot-around news and try to get the warm-up news before the game if you can. All right, that being said, let's get right into it. At the top, point guard, because I'm going to have this news, I'm looking at Darius Garland right here. We have a questionable Donovan Mitchell after playing, 45 minutes the other night in a double OT game here. Garland, Mitchell's questionable. They may rest him. It's the Detroit Pistons. They don't need him to beat they shouldn't need Donovan Mitchell to beat the Pistons. I don't think they need him to beat the Pistons, man. I like some Darius Garland. Gonna love him if Donovan Mitchell is out. You can just sign me up for all of the Darius Garland. But we gotta wait on that news, and like I said, if he plays, we'll adjust accordingly and get to some other guys here. But right now, I'm looking at Darius Garland in this spot against the Pistons. Anthony Edwards here at 8,800. Listen, he's got a questionable tag. I'm not worried about this one. If you don't know, I'll run through this. When a guy's probable, is usually, I think it's like 70. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure I am though. Probable tags, it's like 75% likely, 75% and up that the guy plays. Questionable tags are true 50-50s, and then doubtful is they probably out more than likely. All right. Just remember that if you don't know that little tad bit. But Anthony Edwards was questionable last time. Still came out and played like 40 minutes. I'm not really worried about it here. Only thing I'm worried about is if Fox plays on the other side to keep this game a little more competitive. But either way, Anthony Edwards 8,800. Just been playing well as of late. I expect that to continue here against these Sacramento Kings in this spot. At the small forward, I want to look at Jeremy Grant. Now, I'm going to toe the line with this Portland-Memphis game. I'm going to let you know. I know the total is super low, 209. Nobody really wants to go there. I get it. But remember what I always tell you, man. It's value to be had in them low total games, especially when you got teams like this that defense is horrible as well. Then you got Jeremy Grant. Should be no DeAndre Ayton over there tonight. We got to see what they're going to start at center. But Memphis is without Jaren Jackson. So the paint, he should be able to, Jeremy Grant should be able to get what he wants on the inside. Should be able to get to the rim at will. I definitely got some interest in him at 7,100, all right? At the power forward, listen, it's Zion again. I don't know what to do. He keeps popping for me in my metrics. It's a great game environment. They just played this Pacers team. He didn't do that great, but I will go right back to him at 8,100, man. The ball handling's increased. Like I said, the assist opportunities are there. Give me some Zion Williams at 8,100. Love the game environment. I'm just going to go right back to him. A lot of times in basketball, man, NBA, DFS, especially with the stars, you just got to keep playing the guy until especially when you know they can do it and they have that upside. You just got to keep playing the guy no matter how many times he fail you, all right? Give me Zion Williams at 8,100. At the center, I want to look at Lamar Stevens, man. He should definitely get some playing time in this spot. No Jaren Jackson. Still no Conchar. Probably no Luke Kennard. I don't know what they're going to do with this starting lineup. He's been seeing about 20 minutes. He should see at least 25. I think that should tick up to at least 25 with no Jaren Jackson over here. Stevens is a good quality fantasy producer. And bottom line, at 4,100, if he get 25 minutes, I definitely want to get to some of them. I think he can pay off this price tag at 25 minutes, possibly more. He could move into the starting lineup. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. We probably won't have that before lock, but I definitely believe Stevens sees an uptick in minutes with Jaren Jackson and those guys out over there for the Grizzlies. So there you have it, man. Your starting five for DraftKings: Darius Garland, Anthony Edwards, Jeremy Grant, Zion Williams, and Lamar Stevens. All right, let's go take a look at FanDuel and see what I'm feeling over there. On the FanDuel side, man, stand with Darius Garland, 7K. Like I said, this solely dependent on that Donovan Mitchell news. If Donovan Mitchell is out, just sign me up for Garland, all right? And that's going to improve those other Cleveland players as well. Mobley's going to see a bump. Allen a little bit of bump. But if Mitchell is out, definitely like Mobley, definitely like Garland. At the shooting guard spot, I told you I'm going to toe the line with this Portland-Memphis game. I get it. The total's 209. I get it. But Anthony Simons, 7,600. You think because that total is 209, you think he still ain't going to take 20-plus shots here in this spot? He just got to find his touch, man. If that shot is... Anthony Simons shooting 20-plus shot regardless, whether they falling or not. But if they falling, he's sure going to get you up 20, maybe 25-plus in this spot. Horrible defense from the Memphis Grizzlies. He's been struggling on offense, but if there was a time to find your game and a time to fix your struggling shot, it's against this horrible Memphis defense that just got worse with no Jaren Jackson over there, man. I'm looking at Anthony Simons as well in this Portland-Memphis. I know nobody really going to want to go to it because of that low total, and it's it just looks disgusting. Both of these teams are horrible offenses, but I'm looking at Anthony Simon 7,600. This might be the spot he can correct it and get that shot back falling. At the small forward, want to look at Brandon Ingram, man. It's the Pacers Pelicans game, man. That game is live. That and the Warriors to Raptors game, the two best totals on the slate. Give me some Brandon Ingram. You know it's going to be one of those Pelicans guys, man. If this game is competitive and does what it's supposed to do, it's going to be one of these Pelicans guys. The question is just which one. Brandon Ingram, Zion, my favorite too. I don't got to give you a breakdown. You know they're the stars of the team. You know what they can do. I'm looking at Brandon Ingram here at 8,100. At the power forward, want to look at Karl Anthony Towns. Staying in that Minnesota-Sacramento game. Karl Anthony Towns should be able to have his way down there with Keegan Murray defending them. The Sacramento Kings give it up to the power forward position. Looking for Karl Anthony Towns to have a nice little bounce back game here. Didn't really have that great of a game last time out, but he definitely could eat inside here against these Sacramento Kings. Definitely looking at some Karl Anthony Towns at 8,400. And then rounding out at the center, man, center's rough. Center is rough. You got the best pay up option is Sabonis, and he's in a tough matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Cat and Gobert down there. He's mainly an inside scorer. It can get real rough for Domantas Sabonis down there, especially if Fox doesn't play. This game can get out of hand. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna get as much as of Edwards and Towns if Fox doesn't play, because this game could get out of hand. But I'm still definitely gonna get to him. But at the center spot, like I was saying, man, it is rough. Sabonis in a tough matchup. Jackson is out. I'm already getting some Towns. Porzingis, Rudy Gobert, like none of these guys you can just look to and know they gonna crush. So for me over here, I'm just gonna punt it, and I'm going down to Trey Jemison, man, 3,900. Portland Grizzlies game. He probably gets the start. Just secured a contract with the Grizzlies. I'm anticipating him starting at the center spot. But the good thing about this is, even if he doesn't start, or the starting lineup is different than what I expect, he's still going to play, man. They just don't have the bodies over there. He's going to play no matter what. Him and Stevens, like I said, they just do not have the bodies. And if anybody gets in foul trouble, whatever, he's going to see all the minutes off the bench. But I'm anticipating him starting here with no Jaren Jackson Jr. And you can sign me up at 3,900, almost close to the flat men over here on FanDuel, all right? There you have it, man. Your starting five for FanDuel: Trey Jemison, Karl Anthony Towns, Brandon Ingram, Anthony Simons, and Darius Garland. Get you some exposure to these guys. Get them in your player pools. They for sure going to be in mine, all right? That's going to do it for us here today, man. Y'all know any questions, comments, concerns, you can ask me anything, man. Hit me up in the comment section over on Twitter. Talk to me. I talk back. Y'all know the motto. Chances make champions. Y'all green up. I'll catch y'all next time, all right? Let's get it.